You can start, I hope, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So, good morning to everyone, all the learners. We are going to deal with Unit 39 of MDI 4 block, that is Kangani Maistry labor migration. So, in the previous class, we have learned on the colonial period. So, how the system is going on. We understood on individual labor. So they just move forward and they have another set of forming the labor system is called Maistry labor migration or Kangani labor migration. So the learning objectives of this unit is going to be how this system works in Sri Lanka and how it is evolved because we know that the southern part well connected with Sri Lankan entity. We know that it's previously it was called Ceylon, and how this evolution of Kangani system that happened in Ceylon and how it has also declined all over the period, and how this also the Kangani system in Malaysia the same manner. We are going to deal with how this context of Indian labor migration to Burma, now it is called Myanmar, and main feature and characteristics of Maistry system in Burma. So this is what we are going to deal today. And this is will enlighten us on various aspects like understanding the main feature of it and how these patterns works out and how it is as improvised now and how the starting point has worked out in labor migration and we also deal with how it is the difference of this Maistry labor in Burma and Kangani system in Ceylon and other part, and how it is impacts in home as well as in the host countries. So this is what we are going to deal about it. Let me briefly introduce on how this during the colonial period, this indentured labor to Kangani system, especially in Ceylon. So the labor recruitment system, we know very well that we have this labor recruitment system in intensive labor, which is we dealt in the last previous class on the same unit. It is like a slavery system, and this system is replaced in Sri Lanka or Malaya. In the previous, we know that Malaya now it is called Malaysia. We know various people in Malaysia are from southern part, especially from Tamil Nadu, and the Myanmar also. So Indian unskilled labor migration during the colonial period is, we say that it's a kind of varied in nature, and labor recruitment mechanism is it's an outsource that we can say that the Indian unskilled labor has moved a lot. We know that in Malaysia, you see, for example, people will be in the farms, especially in tea plantation or coconut farms and all those things. People in rubber unit, we see in Malaysia. So there also the British government has colonized those countries. So these 19 to late 19th century to till the early 20th centuries, we have this colonial form of labor migration took place in various names. It's like indentured labor to Kangani and Maistry system. So what is Kangani and Maistry system, which is very uh, informal? We say that there is no formal system like visa going there and everything, proper regulation and everything. There is no such as, and it is it kind of an alternate labor recruitment system than the formal, and very document is not required. And familiar intentional labor ecosystem as like people from the same family will go. So I will go first and I will send my children. and my neighbors. Okay, so it is a chain kind of thing. The chain, the whole family will get recruited, something like that. So we say that the Maistry recruitment system or Kangani systems were perceived as other and insignificant. In contrast, this was nothing but fallacy. So people will be taken just for granted and they will go there. So it seems that system were far more volume and magnitude than intentional labor migration. So what happens in the earlier period in 1834, early 19th century to 20th century, there were around 30 lakhs people moved uh, to kind of Burma, Ceylon, Malaysia during that period, which 90% through Kangani and Maistry systems. And the labor recruits for uh, these systems were commonly drawn from the Madras presidency of the British India. So, especially we say that it's a Tamil laborers. In case of uh, Ceylon and Malaysia, and Telugu laborers in case of Burma. So it seems that Tamil region of Madras presidency emerged in the hinder labor by providing the surplus labor force to tea, coffee, and rubber plantation of Western Ghats. So we see that since it's nearly a southern part, so people from Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, these people were moved to this part, especially Tamil people are high in Malaysia and Singapore. And what is this Kangani system? We in Ceylon or Sri Lanka now it's called. So what is this that British colony to receive unskilled labor through Kangani system. So the genesis of Kangani system can be traced with the expansion of the plantation agriculture. So that's this system is mainly speaks about how people move. People are recruited for their plantation agriculture in the countries of in the country called Sri Lanka. Okay, and demanded this Ceylon or Sri Lanka need a lot of demanded, abundant, and skilled laborers. We should understand demanded, abundant, and skilled laborers. So the people are abandoned means that they are high. Okay, and the term Kangani is derived from the Tamil language, which has the following connotations in English, namely headman or foreman, on overseer and supervisor. So Kangani means a person who is a headman or supervisor. So what he will do or the she will do, purely it's a man oriented work. So he was a recruiter, come foreman or supervisor of the plantation. So there will be a place, go Sri Lanka, you have a lot of tea plantations and even a rubber plantation there. And people will be the headman there. So what is his work? To take care of this plantation all about. And this work should go. All right. And what the person will do recruit people from various parts with the cheap labor. So what the Kangani is a man who was considered as a recruiter and come working on a plantation or sent back to their village in India. So they will come to India by the planters to recruit their people or people for work. They called as a kinsman. So what is that? It's like a kingdom or the person is in charge for taking the people from India to work in their plantation, their agricultural land. Instead of relying on labor recruiters, planters took the help of trusted workers. Okay, so they will take the workers who can be trustworthy, who can remain, who can uh, work as a kind of without raising any demand or something like that. So, what is the main things is remained, which is the thing which is make them to work. There is a debt, so they will be under loan for a certain amount, and They will, in order to repay the debt, in order to repay the loan, they will work there. The loan may be the loan will be given by uh, the planter to the as a middleman called Kangani, who is the recruiter, and this will happen like this. So, what is the uh, this Kangani system? How is evolved? It is evolved over the years, and the recruiter, the Kangani, was given an advance money by the planter to recruit the laborers from his native village. So he will go to the native village, tell some false promises. There'll be a high wage. You have a, even nowadays we call it the cyber crime also takes place like that. So people will call and say that you will get a work in Australia somewhere, it's free and everything, and we will be trapped sometimes. So the same way the middleman, the company will come and telling them about high wages, you have good savings, and all those things. So he would set out with the he because he will be paid for that. So he will be set out the gang of indenting laborers and would conduct them to the estates. So the early Kangani system was developed most likely in the late 19th, mid early 19th century, 1820s, the latest in 1830, when Tamil laborers migrated seasonally in gangs from South India to coastal districts to up the country of Ceylon. So you find even since I am from Tamil Nadu, you see this Rameswaram. You know very well there is a temples and everything. Rameswaram, Ramanathapuram, these Kanyakumari. These are the coastal areas where lot of people getting migrated to Ceylon during that time. So when the coffee cultivation was introduced initially around, you imagine the 10,000 Tamil laborers were recruited in initial period. That means 1820s to 1830s through the Kangani system, right? So this was the main thing when we talk about the uh, Kangani system and all those things. Um this mainly the job of uh, the Kangani, the person, is a middleman. So after you see a decade, there was a uh, there was a kind of uh, conversation of a plantation crop from coffee to tea and rubber, leading to increase in laborers numbering around 6 lakhs around. So people moved because the economy of the country, the Sri Lanka, depends morely on coffee, tea, and rubber. So this leads lot of manpower to cultivate, uh, to till to harvesting the tea plantation or coffee plantation. They need to take care of the uh, plant, uh, watering and all those things. So they need a lot of manpower. In rotation also they require. So needs most people. So in order to the expansion of their agriculture to coffee to tea and to rubber, it is to labor has need a lot. So this has a push towards the labor market and people around 6 lakhs 50,000 during that time. Imagine where taken to Sri Lanka. So with the expansion and extension, so the plantation of agricultural cycling over the years, the planters increasingly relied on Kanganis to get needy laborers. So the Kanganis were put in pressure, so they have to travel to and fro again and again to take the people and good kind of reliable labor. So it is resulted in different type of Kanganis over a period of time. So this push as their role and their because of their payment and everything, they need push them and need to have a different types, different angles, or we can say different verticals they worked on. And so they have differentiated, the author has differentiated in a different way, like kind of professional company, crimping Kangani, and yearly Kangani and all those things because of the this type of uh, the types were classified because to whom they are getting recruited. Okay, whether they are taking the professional or crimping or very well trained professional or there or something like that. So when you say the yearly companies, the middleman, it was introduced when the coffee was introduced as a plantation crop in Cyclone. It's a very early time. Okay, it's a very emerging stage. So because the coffee only was the main crop in Ceylon or Sri Lanka, we use the term Sri Lanka. Now it is called uh, Sri Lanka. You know, so Ceylon, uh, when in 1980s or somewhere, people go to Ceylon and buy a lot of technological items to their hometown, and they are seen as something great there. So this early stage of 1820s to 30s, the early Kanganis who were an elderly or experienced man from the coastal districts of Tamil Nadu and recruited his own kin groups, as I have said earlier. Own kin groups were recruited from his own village, guiding them to reach the estates. So, this early Kanganis is an elderly and experienced person who knows the where or the condition of work and everything. And he also was able to negotiate the labor gap on the wage with the planters and everything. So he will be there with negotiating with the laborer as well as the planter and the wage and everything and the settlement and all those things. And the early Kanganis are also the worker on the estate, supervise his own relatives or his own village man, leading them back to his village after the harvest of coffee beans. So he will take entire thing. So he will take his own people from his village, his skins and relatives there, and do the harvesting and again bring them back. Okay, this is what the routine of the early Kangani system. And so during this phase, the intending migrant laborers from their village, led by the Ganganis, walked up to Rameswaram, coastal fishing own town, and took non-mechanized fishermen's boat to the place inside Ceylon. So this is what. So as I've said, Rameswaram is main coastal area, which is very near to Sri Lanka. Even there is a kind of place where you can just go up of the hill and you can see view Sri Lanka from there. So this is very near. So they walked from 7 or maximum 9 days, covering around 220 kilometers by boat. So they take their own boat and they reach there. So this, which is usual, and uh, so this given this rough journey and hostile conditions, so people in the early period moved like this. So it's for our understanding. We should also need to learn how these people moved to that place in early company system. So later, it becomes in 1850s. It becomes a professional company system came into being. Uh, it's an evolution from the early Kangani system to the professional Kangani system. See, the 1850s, uh, in what is the thing is, in early Kangani system, you'll find that they worked as a labor. Even they also worked as a labor. Here, the Kangani system is little more professional. By just two a few ways where the Kangani received some money in advance as advance from the planter to pay for the transport of intending labor sustained essential savings. So this is what this little evolution took place in it, and the Kangani receives a sum of money from the planter, with which he engaged gangs of police in Indian villages and to pay their transport. So everything is he has the money. He has given certain amount, and he will have that amount in advance, and he will take, and he will pay the amount for travel and food and everything till they reach Sri Lanka. So with which he starts on his quest. He deals a wonderful story of Ceylon high wages to the villagers, telling them the easily they can earn and save return and everything. And then after few formalities, the Zamindar man, whom he possibly bribes with a gift to few rupees or umbrella to make matters swift and easy, he sets out with his gang for the coast. So even he will jamindar system, that unelected person who is a jamindar, or even the terms might be used in your area. So jamindar system where there is a village headman. Okay. So he used to bribe them, and he used to give some gift like umbrella or something, some product or so whatsoever, and through that he will influence and take the people, and advance their passage and conducts them to the estate. So the pre-passage will be given. So despite several economic problems, droughts and crop failures and epidemics, the professional Kangani took serious efforts to collect the laborers to meet the greater demands of coffee plantations. So here in India, due to drought, due to the poverty and the crop failures, so various reasons people were forced that those things pulled them, pushed them to move to Sri Lanka for work. So coffee plantation, where it's an emerging trend, there is pushed them, and this professional Kangani system, which is little more soothing the people to move, because the transport is taken care, the food is taken care all over the travel and everything. These people able to influence a lot on the on ground, and able to take the people there. And so the as discussed above, the labor gangs were from the same village of Kangani, and thus homogeneous in nature under the early Kangani system. In contrast, the recruiter laborers were heterogeneous in nature, hailing from neighboring different villages. So when it is moved to the professional Kangani system, since they were given money earlier, so this becomes a heterogeneous group. That means in a geographical locality, when we consider of the early period, people are from the same villages or same place, but here people are from different villages. So even after the advent of professional Kangani system, the hassle-free journey was not guaranteed for the laborers. So the rest houses were built on the way, many died due to exhaustion and starvation, as Kanganis did not spend even the one third of advances given by the employees. So this is they swallowed a lot of money, the Kangani people, and did not spend that amount for their food and everything. Their kind of the normal things which has to be taken by the Kangani. So the laborers spent on their own, which led to accumulation of debts with Kangani. So people on the estates, the professional Kanganis received the wages in the name of the members of the gang, and paid a small fraction of amount of the laborers, and kept the rest of the balance to their debt amount. So this was happening. So imagine there is an exploitation in the professional Kangani system. Very clear that the people are, even though they are also the company also from their own village or own place, they didn't pay them well. So since the middlemen were paid by the directly by the planter, they took the lot of amount, one third of the amount did not even spent on for them, and they were given the minimum amount to take care of them. So this increases the debt again, so they are not able to repay. So at times of uh, uh, the shortage, again the companies were trying to recruit or approach the labor gangs on the way to plantation from India through various ways and means. The act was known as crimping. So this crimping has taken place. Another evolution in the Kangani system. As crimping became the profitable business, some professional Kanganis and the head Kanganis finally turned out to be a crimp Kanganis. Means that uh, The Krim Kanganis assisted the ran away laborers from the estate to find work in other plantations. So they were crimping, means that they pushing the laborers to other places. So to avoid crimping, the planters introduced another system called Dundu system. Dundu system means the planter sold his surplus labor force to his Kangani by issuing the receipt of cash or against promissory note, a certificate called Tundu. What that Tundu means? So there is a crimping means the there is one plantation, another plantation is there. Here there are a lot of workforce in one plantation called the plantation A. In plantation B, they need 10 people. So what they do, they get the planter get an advance from the Kanganis, so they will send the 10 people to the another plantation. So what will happen? They should pay them, or they will take a promissory note certificate called Dundu. By the Dundu, the other planter who was needed labor force hired the laborers by paying the cash to the Kangani. So this was happening. So this method helped the planters to recover the expenses incurred for the recruitment of laborers. So this has reduced because again they have to come to India to take some laborers and all those things. So as well as the control of power of Kangani over laborers. So the Kangani will get the amount and pay here, and A to B he will be the middleman. So it is known as the Dundu system. I hope we understand that. So this Tundu system ensured more flexibility of labor supply. So this is another yearly Kangani system, professional Kangani system to crumpled Kangani system or Dundu system, where some Kanganis families gained monopoly on the labor force. All right. So this the Kangani family's monopoly means that he is the only person who can provide laborers to the most of the estates or plants over there. Means he has a number of 100 people, so he will get a promissory note from the plantation A, promissory note from plantation B, and send the people and all those things. Thus, the professional Kangani system ensured the permanent settlement of laborers on the plantation. Subsequently, it lead to an emergence of new social order on the plantation. So imagine there is a new social order. The term is very, very heavy. When you say social order, they are bringing certain type of social process in the particular plantation, because a lot of people involved, a lot of people migrated, a lot of people settled, and they are all from one family, or they are all from one village or one system of the culture and everything. So they bring a particular social order. So the following the professional system of Kangani, the conversion started in 1880s from coffee to tea production. So imagine coffee to tea production, a hierarchy-based head Kangani system came into being. So they move from one plantation to another plantation. At the top, the senior Kangani or head Kangani, followed by sub Kanganis, were also known as uh, China Kangeni. Means in Tamil, when you say China, it means small. Senior Kangeni means or Periya Kangeni means it's a person who is big. Okay, Periya Kangeni and Chinna Kangeni, or head Kangeni or whatsoever. So these were taking place because there are a lot of new people. So they were sent to India either to recruit laborers or had to supervise the labor force of the head Kangeni in the estates. So there was a demand in permanent labor force on a tea plantation. They need a permanent labor force. So the head Kangeni was given huge advances to recruit the needed laborers, because they need a lot of people as well as the people who can work for a longer time. So there is a contract, there is a thing that 1 year, 2 year contract, and everything had taken place. So the successful head Kangani started supplying laborers to several estates, because they moved from coffee to tea. For tea, it is little more space is enough and everything. And over the years, these head Kanganis have gained professional skills, leading to attain a bargaining position over the planter. So over the period of time, now the Kanganis were able to bargain to the plant, because they have a strong uh, kind of strong entity, because they created a monopoly, we have said. So the planters need to depend on them for the huge labor force, and he became an important link and between the laborers and the management. Very very important aspect how it has the Kangani system has evolved, and uh, the income also they had from various sources he can the Kangani was able to get the income. For example, the advances for the recruitment labors, he has some certain income, and he received some premium over laborer. So when I want to recruit, you should pay me the 1 month salary, 2 month salary. On the completion of 1 year, you must give me something. Okay, so he got money for every labor who completes the contract at a stipulated time. So this type of money is able to pull from the both end. Moreover, he was given the contract for weeding and earthwork on the plantation, and he wanted small shops on the plantation. Imagine that. So not surprisingly, many head Kanganis become rather rich. That is also you must keep in mind. Some who can created the monopoly, who can have lot of people he can recruit. Based on that, he started his own kind of shops, even the plantation. That is a improvement in terms of the Kangani system. And as the laborers, uh, we and so, as the laborers had settled permanently on the plantation, their relationship with their native villages weakened, and their dependence with the Kanganis become stronger. So, this is also an important point. So, the relationship, the early 80s to 1850 to 1910 or 20, their relationship with the people are very home countries has come down. So, uh, it has weakened. So the Kangeni became an inevitable figure because the most of the laborers depend on them, and so they managed the peoples and all the labors and everything. So the socio-economic system and monopolies the labor recruitment. The Ceylon government and planters decided to control and restrict the power of Kanganis and dependency on them. Okay, so the government of Sri Lanka has taken some steps because their monopoly system is exploiting the laborers, as well as it is also getting more stronger will be the issue for the Sri Lankan government. So they developed certain kind of rules and regulation, which will put down the strong hold of the Kangeni or middleman or the person who recruit. So this Ceylon Labor Commission was established in yearly the first decade of 20th century in 1900. So what happens? Uh, they brought two systems. One is ticket system, and another one is setting up of Ceylon Labor Commission for the recruitment of laborers that control the operation of Kangani. So what they have done, they brought us ticket system. They will provide some tickets, and based on that, they have to do it. So they have brought the ticket system in 1901. So what they have done, as per the scheme, the Cyclone government assumed the responsibility for the transportation of the recruits. So what they have done, this ticket system, the Ceylon government taken the responsibility for the transportation of the recruits. Okay, whoever transport from there, from South India to the plantation Ceylon, the ticket will be taken care of the Ceylon government. Okay, so it's the first thing. So this will arrest the monopoly of the uh, Kangani people or the middleman. So because they earn lot through this kind of travel, because they pay less and all those things. So thus the duty of the Kangani was restricted to recruitment alone. I hope you got it, because through the recruitment, when they take the people from southern India to for the country, they need to loot lot of amount for this travel. So this is being arrested by the or controlled by, we can say, controlled by the Ceylon government. So uh, they have done tin tickets. When the tin tickets were called a kind of coin system. So this will be given, and based on that, by using that, they will come. So with these tin tickets, the Kangani could pay for himself as well as for the recruits' transportation for stay in camps. So this has to be this established because they have to pay what's supposed to be paid. So the expenses were collected from the planter, who recovered the amounts from the laborers later. So the ticket was scheme was successful and reduced the risk involved on the way and had strong control over the operation of countries. So 2 years after the commencement on the tin ticket system, 70% of all the recruits came by this scheme. So within 2 years, so all the recruits were come by this system. So means that uh, the 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 monopoly power of the Kankini were brought down. Okay, and they only worked on the recruitment part alone, not on the part of their travel and all those things. And we discussed that the second scheme was Ceylon Labor Commission. The Ceylon Labor Commission means Ceylon, it's Sri Lanka, which previously it was called Ceylon. So the private organization working on behalf of the plants that opened its head office in Tiruchirappalli, South India. Okay, in 1904, it's one of the districts in Tamil Nadu, and sub offices in recruitment area. Okay, so what it does, what is this Ceylon Labor Commission's main work is, it paid the advances directly to the laborers. So that is the main thing they have done it. In 1904, they started. So you are going to be recruited to Ceylon. So for travel and everything, this will cost these things. So we pay the advances to for your uh, arrival to Ceylon. So what they paid here a certain amount and they use it. Again, the Kangani has to present the recruits before an officers of the CLC who confirm the good health status and willingness of the recruits. So they cannot be forced, and they should show their good health and everything. So it has become more professional. Thus, the CLC, that is Ceylon Labor Commission, assisted and controlled the Kanganis in the recruitment process. So they cannot do a kind of foreplay, or they cannot do the push. They cannot bring some people underage. So a lot of things were being controlled by the CLC. So the CLC has to in 1931, it has brought a lot of changes from 1910 to 1931. In both schemes, reduce the power by reducing the power and control of Kanganis over the recruitment process. So, the Ceylon government has brought these two schemes very, very in a manner to in order to control the power of Kanganis in recruiting and uh, uh, the how to say, the bribe or the looting the amount in terms of this process. Okay, and their uh, control over the people who they recruit. Okay, so this was the main revolution through the government that took place in the Kangani system. So uh, we say that in addition, not only it has reduced the power of Kangani in recruitment process, and it also was restricted on plantation as well. You, you see in another area also, because their power is not only in the recruitment process, their power also is very high in the plantation as well, because they are the one who, if two can, they can favor. For example, uh, if they want to get lot of amount from one plantation, what they will do, they will send lot of laborers to them. And if another planter is not able to pay the company more, and they will not be given the laborers and all those things. These systems also, their power on plantation also was restricted. So the labor, uh, this has brought the a lot of changes in terms of recruitment and in terms of their Kangany's power on the plantation as well. So we know people, my father and all used to say that in during 1950s or 1960s and 70s also, this Kangani system people moved to Sri Lanka, but this was not restricted, but people uh, were highly seen when they come from Sri Lanka with a lot of money and all those things, but the system is very worse there, and a lot of people settled. I hope there is a war where in recently people, Tamil people are high and they were killed over there during the war, and it's because of the lot of migration that took place in the early 80s and 90s years we see, and Kanganis were no longer dominant or inevitable person on the plantation system of Ceylon due to this two predominant government intervention in the recruitment and plantation part. So there is a, due to this there is a decline in Kangani system. How it is declined that we have to see. Okay, so the decline of Kangani system started in the year 1920s, much very beginning after the intervention of the government into it. Okay, the government intervened in 1901 through token system, and 1904 they started with a kind of CLC, Ceylon Labor Commission, in 1904. So this led to the decline of Kangani system in Ceylon, and we see that there was a growth of political consciousness due to the activism of trade union. Beside uh, uh, the political awakening of the plantation laborers, people, the, uh, the Mahatma Gandhi also visited the place in 1931 and 1927 by Jawaharlal Nehru, had various reform that took place for the Indian laborers there. So, so later the various labor reforms were introduced, conditioned based on the labor reports of the agent of the government of India in Ceylon, such as education ordinance and abolition of Tundu system, because you the Tundu system made the laborers more cheaper and more they exploited, because they just take to one plantation and they will shift to another plantation and to there to some other plantation. So it is kind of more exploiting the laborers. So then there is an implementation of Minimum Wages Act 1929, and where the voting rights with preconditions. So these all took place, and this declined the Kangani systems in Ceylon. And you see that owing the pressure from the trade union movements, because trade unions start taking place, and they in 1940s they start demanding on high wages, don't exploit us, and there are a lot of fight in the plantations in the mid of 1940s. People are start fighting for their rights, and they want to be paid more, and there was they sitting inside and not doing any work and all those things. The lot of ways of strike were taken place, uh, and due to this, the Kanganis were disappeared by themselves because it's more getting formalized. So, like a kind of because he cannot be able to work as a headman or a money lender, shopkeeper, due to these circumstances. So, in some instances, he might render valuable service both to the estate and the worker. So, this system has taken away the Kangani formation. And at present, the contemporary Kangani is supervisor of lower rank in the present plantation system. If you see over there, and the headman is just a headman. This is a supervisor, uh, and he is not the center of the system. Where in the beginning he was the center of the system. So now, due to a lot of the labor, trade union, and Ceylon Indian uh, this commission, and there is the Indian Congress Labor Union, Ceylon Workers Union, is all took place. There is a former Ceylon Indian Congress Labor Union, which is a very high in demanding and fighting against their exploitation and everything. So this has brought the Kangani system to uh, the dead end, means that they are just a supervisor. They don't have any rank, and or the center of the recruitment and control over plantation. So and Kanganis have become the number of become the member of the trade union, and in many cases they are the local trade union leader. That's all, and they start fighting for the rights of the people of the labor force. And uh, and the life of the laborers have improved a lot, and they remain continue to face many issues related to work and wages, living in deplorable conditions. They became forgotten people due to negligence and exclusion from the economic development measures by the successive Sri Lankan government since independence. So this was the history behind the Kangani systems in Sri Lanka. The same has when you look into the uh, in uh, in uh, Malaysia. This is another area, country where a lot of people from southern part, especially in Tamil Nadu, are there. We know that Malaya was the initially called. Now it is Malaysia. We find a lot of movies, uh, people taking shooting a lot of movies depicting the life conditions of people there, how they were shifted to Malaysia and everything. A lot of Tamil movies come, and like Ceylon or Sri Lanka, the Kankani or Kangani system was replicated in Malaysia as well. So you see, when you see Malaysia uh, has begun, you can say that uh, Kangani system in Malaysia more formal and organized than Ceylon, right? And the crop, the Kangani system in Malaysia gained momentum when there was a crop conversion from tea to coffee to rubber in mid 19th century, uh, as like in Sri Lanka. That puts it the rubber plantation heavily dependent on Kangini recruiters, and the government also adopted policy for supporting Kanganis. So what happened? The government need a lot of people in their rubber estate, uh, uh, and a lot of people are needed in their estate to work under low wages and everything. So the Kangani system replaced the individual labor migration system after its abolition in 1910. And the Kangani system was cheap and ensured a regular inflows of needy laborers. So we people are taken for granted through indentured labor, means they just go as a flow, and it was abolished in 1910s. So they again need people in their rubber estate, because uh, in Malaysia also, in Malaya also, they moved their the crop conversion moved from tea and coffee to rubber in the mid 19th centuries. So further, the system was considered as the best available option, as it was cost effective, expensive, and ensured the regular inflows of laborers in comparison to intentional labor. You know that in a rubber estate, you find a lot of people, because it needs a lot of hard work, and they need to cut the part of the tree, and from plantation, after it's get planted and it's grown, the tree is grown, it is to cut and keep they will keep a kind of a wooden cup, or the think what is that, the coconut shell down, and it will get, and this needs the kind of hard labor when to fix and everything. And a lot of women, especially when this kind of milk, the rubber milk has come, they will go and take it and measure. They have to measure it and everything. So it needs a lot of labor in that. So a Kangani recruitment system was dominant from labor recruitment and control from 1990s to 1938 on Malaysia plantation. So this was a starting period when you consider with Malaysia. So uh, we see that the Kangani system of Malaysia provided and met the demand of labor. Its existence, after its existence for a few decades, it came to an end in 1930s after the ban of Indian migration to Malaysia. So 1938, there is a ban of Indian migration to Malaya. So due to that, this Kangani system had stopped. So we see that in your textbook also you can find in Kangani system. So in 1852 to 1937, there are 2 lakhs people, uh, sorry, 20 lakhs people moved uh, from India to Malaysia alone, or Malaya alone. And this this system of labor relationship of Kangani was a dynamic in nature, because the Malaysia government was very supportive to the Kangani system. Uh, so that he was not only the recruiter or the overseer, but also the patron or entrepreneur or financier to the to the laborers. So the Kangani intervened, took decision on the professional as well as domestic input disputes of the laborers. It's totally different from Sri Lankan government, because they have lot of intervention into the government, and lot of as played as a decision makers in the government, and there was on and off relationship between the both. So the Kanganis acted as an inevitable link or intermediary between the planters and the laborers on the Malaysian plantation economic structure. So this was the reason why there is a lot of difference when compared to the Sri Lankan and the same period. They were able to send 20 lakhs people, which was 50 lakhs, 5 lakhs more higher than the Sri Lankan government, because here the flow is very high and there was no kind of government restriction. And despite the close ties of between the Kangini and his labor gang on Malayan plantation, he was not considered as one among the equals, and he was representative or agent of the employer by his labor gang. And the Gangani was not the there was a mediator of conflicts between labor and capital, which was started in the year 19 mid 19 30s. And so here uh, uh, present when you talk about the Malaysia, they have a lot of privileges uh, to to strengthen their labor force there, to bring the labor into their country. And the Kangani system was well established, we can say, in Malaysia when it is compared to the Sri Lanka. But when you take Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka was the one who realized and put for there's a lot of restriction on Kangani system. But here, the Kangani system of Malaya was declined in 1938 after the ban of Indian migration to Malaya. So they have banned an Indian migration in 1938. That is the reason they put a strong stop over the end. But they have not any control over the kind of Kanganis there. So they have stopped it, the migration, due to various reasons. So when you take to the same scenario in Myanmar, after Malaysia. They have a country called Myanmar. Now, previously it is called Burma. So here also we see a lot of migration that took place. This was so uh, the the Anglo-Burmese War that began 1880 20 to 1885. So this facilitated the movement of Indian migrants such as camp followers of the British troop, consists of primary traders, sailors, and all those things. So this is a small uh, form of the migration that took place. What is that? Here, unlike Malaysia or unlike Malaya or Sri Lanka, here the Maistry system was the only exclusive labor recruitment mechanisms to meet the growing demand of the unskilled laborers. So what they have done here, they were taken by the shipping agents. Okay, so Indian mobility to Burma was sustained, regulated, and stimulated by the networks of Maistry. So Indian shipping agents and sub agents and uh, Chettiars in Tamil merchant caste, that was the only backbone of the Burmese agricultural economy, and but also funded the maestries for their recruitment as well. So maestries means the headman, the another term of the headman. But here the following push factors such as exploitative land revenue structure, landlessness, recruitment, famines, and epidemics, caste restrictions, etc., force unskilled Indian laborers to take up immigrants to Burma on the escape route uh, from the poverty they have experienced here. So the majority of the Indian migrants to Burma were from the uh, peninsular parts of the British India. So you knew that from Telugu, Tamil, and people from Ramnath, Tanjavur region, which all I am telling from Tamil Nadu, of southern India. And most of them, because these people, most of them who are migrated to Burma, are considered as untouchable caste in India, okay, or scheduled tribes. So they have moved voluntarily to those places because they want to escape from here. So the Telugu speaking people in Burma were known as Karangis to the local people as well as the press and government. So this since the Andhra migrated earlier times from port called Korangi is a present day. There is a where they moved the place through where they moved, due to that they were considered as Porangis. And the recruitment of laborers by the maestries. Maestries means the headman, the same. We say that in construction work, maestries were not only the agricultural plantation or rural related work, but also substantial labors were taken the urban labor workforce to the various sections of the colonial economy of the Burma. So these ministries where they called, they are all in the construction workers. Okay. Uh, these are the main system and main countries where people were uh, moved to various parts of the countries. It's a Kangani and Maistry system. So when you see the Maistry system, the characteristics of the Maistry system of Burma, uh, uh, this is the Maistry, which means master in English. So Maistry is the person who considers a master. And what is the the difference of Kangani here is he is considered as informally used, considered as a labor contractor who enters into an agreement or written contract with an organization or employers to supply the requisite labor force for a specified period. So there is a written contract, okay, were generally drawn from the higher caste of Indian men who would speak fluent Burmese enjoyed a good position in his native place and in the place of work. So these maestries were from the higher caste of Indian men and who can speak Burmese as well as the native place language. Okay, so these maestries were the supervisor of the laborers employed in mills, factories, and other commercial industrial establishment. It's here in Burma. It is not a plantation alone. It is the place of the commercial and factories work. They were being taken. So uh, largely it's not only the maestries who involved in recruitment of unskilled laborers, but also for non-European firms like Burmese and Indians and Chinese also they have taken. And maestries had carried out the recruitment from their native village, towns, and regions caste. In many cases, they had kinship ties to friendly relations with recruited laborers. That was the thing they were recruiting, as like uh, the uh, the system of Kanganis. And the intending immigrants were given a cash advance by the Maistry. So they were given a cash advance, and the advance of money helped them to clear their loans and free themselves from the shackles of debts acquired from them, native landlords and money lenders. So they give some cash and as an advance, which makes this very deprived community, we can say that, who are hardworking and caste wise they are disadvantaged or they are uh, discriminated. So for them it's an aslam. So they take that money, they give all the debt, and they'll become free. So the cash advance also included the free transportation to the colony and for the sustenance in the initial period of their stay. So they'll give a little bit of amount for the initial stay and everything. So the advance was recovered through monthly deduction. So in order to fulfill his obligation to the employees, so for the supply of requisite laborers, the ministries insisted the laborers to sign a contract, an agreement prior to moving towards that country. So they will be in the contract. So I'll work for 2 years or 3 years. I will repay the loan. I received this much amount from you, and you can deduct that amount from my salary. All those things will be there in the contract. So neither the terms of service nor the actual amount or debt owed by the laborers were mentioned in the promissory note on the contract, but this illiterate and ignorant labor gave their thumb impression on the blank stamp the labor. So that was the thing. So nothing is mentioned there. So they are also acknowledge that cash advances were considered as a debt owed by the laborers. So under this context, the ministries had a free will over the laborers. So they were exploiting their labor force in favor of their vested interest. So they were all cheated, and the Maestries not only recruited laborers from India but also recruited laborers who came to Burma on a voluntary basis for a sawmill industry over there. So the we say that Burma wood is very famous. When you take people in the initial period, when you go to homes, it's all built with Burma wood. They say so. But the sawmill is very famous in Burma. So the they were all be put in the wood industry or sawmill industry to work. So this a kind of imbalance or kind of exploitation was very high because they are illiterate and low caste people, and they were taken for granted, and they were signed in some or gave the thumb impression without reading what is written there. And there was the and another thing is there was an imbalance of sex ratio as women migrants never formed more than 10% of the population. So uh, this also gave this average male-female ratio of different Indian migration communities Burma was being the case with the in certain parts of the Burma. So the Maistry system had an informal and internal hierarchy. Labor contractor as the top had Maistry and charge Maistry and gang Maistry. These are the various Maistry system that is formed. So this is the characteristics of the Maistry system. When you say the main characteristics of Maistry system was the enslavement of laborers to the middleman employers due to debt and bondage relationships. So this was the uh, a kind of wasn't thing we see in the Maistry system. The Maistries had control of the disbursement of wages and had the power of hire and fire of the laborers. So they will hire and fire, and thus the Maistry system gave the Maistries more freedom in exercising power. And by doing that, they were exploiting the laborers. So we see the different layers of the Mason system at various levels curtailed the restricted labor's freedom for bargain and betterment. So they are unable to bargain and unable to enjoy uh, their labor force there, and they were all exploited by the Maistry itself. So the extent of Maistry's control and his opportunities of extortion were evident for the fact that he advanced the loans to laborers, and that made them to be controlled this by the Maistry. And these laborers were uh, speechless and they were not able to raise their voice. And another main thing is that when we take this unit and kind of uh, thing we are understanding from this unit is all about the various system. Okay, so from the system in Ceylon, like kind of uh, Kangani system, we should understand, uh, which is uh, which is the uh, worked as a headman on foreman and overseer and supervisor, and he control over the entire thing. And this has declined in due to the Sri Lankan government rules and regulations. They brought a lot of check and balances, so it's declined. And in even in Malaysia, it was when it's banned, the Kangani system was banned totally. And here in Malaysia, this Maistry system where people are highly exploited, we can say, due to laborers went with debt alone, and they were asked to sign in the contract. Due to that, uh, they were not able to speak anything against the maestries, as well as they cannot able to demand. So this unit on we say that uh, kind of Kangani Maistry labor migration, which is the unit 39, clearly defines we need to understand and uh, how this initial pre that colonial period, how people are migrated. That is a the that should be our learning part, and how this the hosting countries has come with a lot of rules and regulations to stop this type of exploitations. After the span of time, decades of time, how they have uh, brought with rules and regulations, and uh, the decline in the Kangani Maestri system, how it took place in the host countries. And so this is what should be our understanding on the unit Kangani Maestri labor migration system from the block MDI 4. So this is what about I want to discuss with you today. Any doubt?
Okay, Dr. Dex.
Yes, sir.
So it is over now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So we'll meet the next Saturday. You have class today?
Yes, sir. Some 3 to 5.
Okay, okay. We'll meet that time. Okay.